Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Mike. It is the 14th of March, 2025. It's a Friday. It's the end of the week. And I would like to say this has been a nothing burger of a week. We have had tariffs come and go. We've had Trump announcements come and go. We've had CPI. We've had PPI. We've had every three-letter word under the sun. And we're still at $83,000. It's just been one of those weeks. We are currently in the house of pain. Are we going up? Are we going down? Depends who you listen to on social media. We have some people calling for $100,000. We have others calling for $50,000. The indecision is killing me. That's two songs fed into the stream before we've even got going. Right, we've got a new layout, as you can see. We have a new layout, we have a new design, and Binanceans, we are currently only streaming on Binance and YouTube for the foreseeable future, okay? We've not fallen out with anybody else, we can't mention their names, but we are trying to move in a different direction. You can see that from the logos on our thumbnails. We are starting to work with clients, starting to work with brands that are trying to get exposure. And to do that, you can't really do that by streaming on multiple exchanges because some of those coins aren't listed. So in the coming weeks, you are likely to see a few more names pop up. But as we said on Telegram yesterday, we're going to try and keep the number of ambassadorships or roles that we have to as minimum as possible. But we also want to focus on high quality projects. Maple Finance is a real world asset project, of course. Mu is a fairly sizable meme coin. We have WoolSwap, of course, which is a DEX aggregator, and we have two more in the pipeline. So you might see a few more of them, but what you're not going to do is see me sit here with a baseball cap on that I'm changing every 5 minutes, telling you that these are the best things since sliced bread. That's not how we work. And of course, we have a new logo. Well, not a new logo, a new show logo, which is in the bottom right-hand corner. So that is a bit of an introduction. We have a lot to get through today, as always. We are going to look at PPI, which came out yesterday. We are going to look at Ethereum not being dead. We'll look at XRP. Aave, we're going to talk about Russian dolls. We're also going to talk about Star Atlas, and that has got to be the favorite headline of the day. Star at last. Star Atlas has a go live, and it's going to be in 2025. It's one of my favorite, it's not really an NFT project. It's more of a space MMO running off the Solana blockchain. Big fan of it. Been covering it probably for over 2 years, so we've got some news about that. Bottom left-hand corner, as you can see, we are well over 200,000 followers and growing at a very slow rate at the minute. I will admit we are getting absolute zero traction. The market has shook everybody out. Nobody's watching live streams. Nobody is watching videos. We are going through the same kind of period we went through last May and June, which is general lethargy. That's really where we are. Now, the chat isn't working for me 100%, so I will have to use my trusty mobile phone to see who is in chat, if anybody is in chat. Good morning, Hidden. Good morning, Velvet. Good morning, Solo Sky. Good morning, KB. And good morning, Jan. I hope you are well. If you missed it, by the way, the Oracle and KB had an interview, chat style event. I think it was Monday, wasn't it? It really good. I have actually managed to listen to the end of it. So if you get a chance to listen in on what KB thinks about the markets and things, please feel free to do so. Now, very quickly, let's go through where we are. Bitcoin coming in just under 83, Ethereum just under $1,900, XRP 230, Solana hanging around. They're all still clinging on. This feels like deja vu, Groundhog Day from Wednesday. We're talking about very, very similar prices to where we were on Wednesday. Nothing's moving. even though we've had two really positive bits of economic data come in. The CPI data, I said if it came in under 3%, I'd expect the market to move up. It did very briefly and then got rejected. The PPI data, or whatever it's called, that came in yesterday as well. That was also positive. But of course, Trump is throwing around the word tariff every second word. That's causing a little bit more uncertainty in the market than we would like. And of course, we could possibly have some more bullish news on the horizon. There is a rumor that Trump wants to cut income tax to zero on everybody earning under $150,000. I don't know how true that is likely to be, but we will have to wait and see. Now, gainers and losers over the last 24 hours. A few gainers. Sonic is back up. That is bouncing around. Hype was also one of the losers at the start of the week. That's now recovering. Trump, I'm telling you, of all these crap coins doing the rounds, that's the one I think has a chance of possibly having a recovery. I think that's the one. Now, I don't hold any Trump, by the way, but it's the only one that's got gravitas. Libra, no. Melania, no. CAD, no. I think this one has. Anyway, Carver is up. Say and Chainlink is up. Decentraland is even up. I mean, what's that even about? I didn't even know that was still going. Pi is down. Athena, Story, Pepe, Potenza, Sui, Aave, which we're going to talk about later on. And Mantra is down at $6.20. Not a bad price. I think I've got, is it $5 as a good price to buy Mantra at? So keep an eye on that. Now then, if you want to know the difference between spot trading and leverage trading, this video sums it up perfectly. No matter what happens to Bitcoin, if you hold Bitcoin, nobody can take it off you. Okay? And this little man in the middle, he is holding his Bitcoin, and here come the leverage traders. Bash, there we go. Leverage wiped out, cleaned out, and that guy holding his spot Bitcoin just walks across the road. That is what leverage trading is. It is a car crash, okay? That's what happens to you if you try and long and short Bitcoin, because it will take you out. Hold spot. And what do I mean by holding spot? Just buy Bitcoin. Just buy Bitcoin and hold it, okay? If you are clever enough to use a Trezor or a Ledger, feel free. If you don't, keep it on Binance. It's pretty much, it's actually safer than holding it on a hot wallet and a cold storage wallet if you don't know what you're doing. Hold it on Binance, keep it there, look after it. You don't need to be clever and 25x long Bitcoin today thinking it's going to go up, and then we wick down to 80,000 and you're out. Okay, so don't buy leverage if you know what you're doing. We do have some people out there that do use leverage, the likes of Jason and Keshan. They use leverage trading. Fine. Okay, good. They know what they're doing. A lot of people do not. Excuse me. Good morning, Tariq. Good morning, Jan. I'm okay, apart from the tickle that I have in the back of my throat that I cannot get rid of. Right then, Warren Buffett says that President Trump is making the best financial decisions for America in 50 years. What I would say to this is that Warren Buffett, what he actually said was that they're the best financial decisions for Warren Buffett in the last 50 years. Remember, if Warren Buffett is so bullish on the American stock market, why is all of his money in cash? He sold everything and he's sitting on cash. So he is somebody to keep an eye on. When he starts to buy back into Apple or other American-based stocks, that's when you know the market is going to recover. But he is sitting on a massive pile of cash. So if it is the best financial moves for America, put your money where your mouth is and go and buy some stocks. Now, again, we don't want to get political on here, and this is not the point. In terms of crypto, anything like this, anything that takes us towards peace is going to cause Bitcoin to go up, and stocks and shares for that matter. Now, of course, these types of truces and ceasefires, they are not necessarily built on solid foundations. A lot of them can be built on sand. So until this has a finality to it, it's not going to be great for the market. But we are moving in the right direction. Okay, that's all we need to know. And again, I don't think the bull run is over. So this is actually playing out for ETH. This post is from an account that I muted. Have I really? I haven't muted that. Why does it say that I've muted Matthew Hyland? I'm following him. Strange. ETH 2023 to 2025 overlaid with 2019 to 2021. Again, I think I showed you the S&P and Bitcoin on Monday to show you that they're working in correlation. Okay, S&P goes up, Bitcoin goes up. S&P comes to the crashing down, so does Bitcoin. There is a correlation, and that's why you should always look outside of whatever industry you're looking at, whether it be stocks and shares, whether it be FX trading, whether it be crypto. You have to take everything into account. Now, I do think that we are likely to see a move on Ethereum. And I keep saying that, and every time I say it, we move down. And the reason I am so bullish on ETH is because it has the Trump family behind it. World Liberty Financial has successfully closed its token sale, raising $590 million. Of course, a massive chunk of that is going to go into the Trump family coffers, but also a big chunk of that is likely to go into buying Ethereum-based assets. We've covered this many, many times. They are not going to give up on their plan, which I think is in 4 years' time. They want World Liberty Financial. We'll just call it World Liberty from now on. They want World Liberty to be a multi-billion-dollar project that they own. That's where they're going. And Trump, much as you love or hate him, he is taking advantage of the fact that he is the president of America to get it there. I said before the election that this was going to be his Achilles heel. And the reason is it puts a massive, great big target on his head. The Democrats can use World Liberty Finance to bash him with. If it loses people money, if it goes down in value, if we get to the end of this 4 year term, and Bitcoin goes back through the same cycle it does every 4 years, then the chances are, running up to the next election, this will not have potentially a great return on it. That's something to bear in mind. However, for crypto, and especially Ethereum, this is massively bullish because most of the assets they are buying are Ethereum-based tokens. That's because it earns them a yield. That's the point. They can't really go out and buy spot Bitcoin because it doesn't earn a yield. They can't pay investors back. They can't really go out and buy Solana at the minute because it doesn't earn a yield in the same way that it does on Ethereum. If the likes of BlackRock are on Ethereum, then that's where World Liberty are going to go. Solana is going to come. They are going to buy into Solana at some point. Moving on then. So the US core PPI falls to 3.4, lower than expectations. So we have lower than expectation CPI, which is inflation. We have lower PPI than expected. So why are we not at $200,000? Because the market simply hasn't recovered enough. We have too many other things on the horizon to think about. We have the money printer needs to be turned on, and everything else we talk about every day on this show. This is a great start. And what it also does is it also relaxes the issue between Trump and Jerome Powell, which is Trump wants low interest rates, Powell wants to look after the economy and stop raging inflation. I think the lowering of inflation is going to give Powell an opportunity to take off another 0.25%. We've seen it in the UK and Europe. We are likely to see it in America. Maybe not April, maybe in May, but we are going to see rates start to come down. And we need the rates to come down for the same thing I say every single time we talk about this, which is lower interest rates means money is cheaper. The money printer can be turned back on. And what's the money printer? It's America printing its own currency. You can't do that in a period of inflation because you're just going to add to the inflation. So when inflation is under control, they can go back to devaluing the dollars in your pocket. And the UK does it, the EU do it. What they do is they print enough money that they can get away with. And they do that by making sure that inflation stays under control. Okay? So when they tell you that 2% inflation is good, no, it isn't. 0 is good, because 0 means that your 100 euros today is worth 100 euros this time next year, and the year after, and the year after. 2% means your 100 euros is worth 98 euros next year, 96 the year after, maybe 93 the year after. It eats away at the money in your pocket. Inflation is bad. Anybody that tells you that inflation is good for the economy is rubbish. Unless your wage matches or goes up greater than inflation, it is a fool's errand thinking that inflation is good for anybody. It's not. It's only good for the powers that be showing you that the economy is growing. The economy doesn't need to grow if the costs of goods and services stays the same or goes down. Okay? I don't like inflation. You can't get away from inflation. I know that. But don't let people tell you that 2 or 3% inflation is good when we've had a period of time where we've had 30% compound inflation. Everything in your supermarket, wherever you are in the world, is 50% more today than it was 4 years ago. Everything. So how is inflation good? It's not, because your wage hasn't gone up by 50% in that period of time. So you are poorer. Everybody is poorer, apart from the people that have got assets which have accumulated at the same rate or greater than inflation. They're the only people that beat it. So don't let anyone tell you that 2% inflation is good, because it's not. If your bank is paying you 0.5% and inflation is 2%, you're losing 1.5% a year in your money. It's utter BS. So CPI has come down. This is a good thing. PPI has come down. Also a good thing. We want to see this. But what we haven't seen, as I've said, is we haven't seen this good news move into the stock market. We haven't seen it move into crypto yet. We have seen the DXY move. That's more to do with the tariffs. And again, the Fed rate cut expectations remain despite weaker inflation data. I think we will see a rate cut in the next 2 months. Could it be this month? Maybe not. There are some odds on it, but maybe we have to wait. But anyway, should we have a quick look at the Bitcoin chart? I wasn't going to do any charts today, but let's go and have a quick look at the Bitcoin chart and see where we are. Let's see where we are with this. And also, it is absolutely freezing. I think it's like 13 degrees today, which, by the way, where I happen to be, is very, very cold. My hands are cold, my toes are cold, I can't feel my nose. But there we go. Right then, so this is the Bitcoin chart. We are in this beautiful downward channel that we've been stuck in probably since the beginning of the year. It's 13th of January. So what's that? 2 months? Pretty much 2 months. We can't seem to break out, and we are just coming down. So what does that mean? It means that we have to break this probably line here, which is about 90,000. We've got to get above 90,000 to break out and maybe do this. I don't see it at the minute. I think what we're going to do, if anything, is continue until something changes. And that something could be rate cuts. Remember, not one single reason why Bitcoin goes down or why Bitcoin doesn't go up. It's a multitude of reasons. And that's why it's difficult for people to predict, because you've got macro, you've got financial, you've got crypto specific. You have all of these things and you have to kind of cobble them together and then put your finger in the air. At the minute, if we have a short-term rally, it will go to probably the bottom of the bull market support band, which is just under 90,000. Now, that is still a $5,000 or $6,000 move. That's still an 8% move. It's still a good move up. But again, until we break out of this, we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. And again, we've still got these levels down here that we need to look at, because I expected a bounce. I expected a better bounce than we got. We didn't really get any bounce. Now, we also said that we thought that this was the bottom. Oh no, we now have a new bottom. We've now got two bottoms, which is always better than one bottom, depending on the type of bottoms you're talking about. But it's also a lower low. Nothing tells me we're going to 100,000 at this moment in time. And if anything, we need to hold 80,000, 81,000. We need to not start dropping below 80,000, because once we do, then there's only really one way, and that's kind of like that. And that takes us back to 2021 all-time highs, which is 69,000. A long way to go before that, but I don't see the stimulus at the minute to move us up. If that CPI data was not enough to bring us up, and the PPI data was not enough to bring us up, then we need more. Then we need more. Again, we're not crashing. We're still down 25% from where we were when we were at 106,000. So we're not a million miles away from the all-time high, but we're also not a million miles away from going back to 2021 highs. And if we do that, as I said on Monday, does that not mean we're in the middle of a bear market? That's the next thing to ask. Are we in a bear market? Could we be in a bear market? Let me just bring this back up. There we go. Okay, we are back now. So let's move on to Ethereum. Now, we showed you World Liberty Finance, and we explained that they've just got their $580 million in the bank. They've also been buying Ethereum, wrapped Bitcoin, and many other Ethereum-based stock. We're going to look at Aave in a minute. Ethereum is not dead, says top analyst. I don't think it's dead. Okay? I don't think it's dead. I don't think that it's going to be overtaken by XRP or Solana anytime soon. I don't think that we are necessarily going to see Ethereum go below $1,000. But again, until Bitcoin dominance breaks down, where's Ethereum supposed to go? It's not going anywhere. Bitcoin dominance, everybody expected it to break down in January. It just kept on going. So until Bitcoin dominance breaks down and the strength of Bitcoin starts to fade, Ethereum can't lead the alt season. There's no alt season without Ethereum moving up. Now, I think he's called Miles Dusha. He's basically turned around and said what everybody says at this point of the cycle, which is the 4-year cycle is dead. Bitcoin dominance isn't going to break down. There's going to be no alt season. And we now have two asset classes. We've got Bitcoin and we've got everything else. Okay. Now, you can pick your way through that as much as you want. But we got this last time. We got this in 2021, okay, about Bitcoin. And we were saying that Bitcoin was going to keep going. It was going to go to $100,000. Everything was going to rip. Once we got to $100,000, Bitcoin just kept going and going and going. And then at the very end, over a 2-month period, it did break down and fall away, but so did everything else. The alt season was everything running with Bitcoin. Now, we didn't see that really at $106,000. We saw Ethereum go to $4,000, but we're now 50% down from there. We're not going to get an alt season until Bitcoin dominance breaks down. And I don't necessarily agree with Miles that this is a different cycle, because we've not gone through the same things we went through in 2021. In 2021, we had quantitative easing. We had money printer burring away. Now we've got QT, which is money being taken out of the economy. Until that money printer gets turned on, I don't know how we see any alt season. Okay? We do need rate cuts and we do need the money printer to be turned back on. But I don't believe that Ethereum is in demise. He has bought the dip, but he is still wary of any additional drops. He went on to emphasize a strategic, well-rounded approach to market uncertainty by saying, if we go higher, I just ride. Again, when you buy your crypto, you should be buying it as a portfolio. So you don't just say, I like Ethereum, I'm going to put all of my money in Ethereum. You should be holding everything. Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe some XRP, maybe some Cardano, maybe some of these new real world asset tokens, maybe some AI coins, whatever it might be. You shouldn't be all in on one token, because very simply put, had you been 100% in Bitcoin, you'd have outperformed pretty much everybody else over the last, 2 years? We had Solana come back from $15 all the way up to $300. We're now back at $126. So for a time, Solana outperformed. We had Ton outperform, Sui outperform, but we're picking specific examples. As a market, Bitcoin has been outperforming everybody now for over 2 years. And that doesn't mean you should hold 100% Bitcoin, but it does mean that a large proportion of your money should be in Bitcoin. 40%, 50% of your portfolio may be in Bitcoin. You should hold Ethereum. Of course you should. It's the second biggest asset. Why wouldn't you? You need to diversify. But we also have to appreciate that we are likely to, if Bitcoin doesn't recover very soon, we are likely to see a $1,500 or $1,700 Ethereum. I said $1,900 was a target, and then $1,700 was a target. We've hit $1,900. Now, if we keep going the way we're going, we're going to see $1,700 and $1,500. That's just the way it is until the market turns. And when the market turns, Ethereum will have a great recovery. But I don't have a crystal ball, and I can't say when that is going to happen. Arthur Hayes has also said the market is convoluted and lacks bullish confirmation despite Ethereum notable downward momentum. His insights were acknowledged by Bernick, who acknowledged that Hayes had predicted the ongoing pullback more accurately. He's still hopeful about Ethereum's long-term viability and advises exercising caution as opposed to panic. In order to recover, Ethereum must take back 2,000 and create support. The bullish target is 273. Again, Ethereum, what's good about Ethereum, if we go back to look at Ethereum, is you have traders that are very good at what they do. And then you have me, okay? And I don't trade. I do not talk too much about Bollinger Bands. I do not talk about volume area profiles. I don't really do any of that because I have to, appreciate the audience. So I'm never going to mention overly complicated terminology for things. But there are some prices which you just need to appreciate Ethereum is going to find resistance at. And they are, let me bring this down a bit, okay? They are probably going to be, where is it now? 1 second. There, right, okay. So you have psychological barriers, $2,000. It tried to hold $2,000 and then it came down. If we go further back up towards, say, $3,000, it tried to hold $3,000 and what happened? It came down. We talk about Bitcoin having steps up, but on the converse, you also have steps down, okay? Where not just Bitcoin, but Ethereum have got these psychological lines. Now, the biggest one of all, most recently, is this one at the very top of the screen, which is $4,000, okay? Now, I'm sure, technically, there's no reason for it to be such a round number. So then it comes down to human behavior. $2,000, $3,000, and $4,000 psychological barriers and psychological levels of support for Ethereum. It tried to hold them, it tried to break them, and it tries to get above them. And it fails quite a lot of the time. Now, the area that the article was talking about is this area here. This is where we were in from pretty much the middle of the summer to the end of November last year. And as you can see, we've fallen beneath it. So what the article is saying is we need to come back into this range before we do that. And I do wholeheartedly agree with that. when I say that Ethereum is going to recover, it's not going to do that. It's not going to go from $1,900 straight to $3,000. That's not how it works. Okay, as you saw with the legs down, we're also going to see with the legs up. Okay, nothing goes up or down in a straight line. Okay, and when you do see these massive ups, you also see these breakdowns as well. So you want to see this kind of market, because when it comes down, it has multiple levels of support. You don't want to see this, because that's a pump and dump. That's what you see with the likes of Trump or CAD or Libra. So Ethereum, for me, if it can hold 1900 and get back above 2000, great. If not, then there is a level further down here, which is about there. She's about there. She's about $1,700. That's the next leg down. But again, I don't want to be bullish. I don't want to be bearish. I'm just looking for what's going to spark the next leg up. And the CPI data didn't do it on its own. Maybe Chairman Powell announcing a rate cut will be the next leg up. But again, we have bearish news and bullish news. And at the moment, the bullish news is simply not moving anybody. Okay? The Ripple SEC legal battle approaches resolution. Again, it's holding. XRP was at $2.50 for a very long time. It's fallen pretty much exactly 10% to be at $2.25. And it's hanging around there, and it hasn't fallen as much because this is the end of the case. Okay? 2.5 years ago, when we first started talking about this, we were saying that nobody's going to buy XRP when there's a court case, because the risk management of any financial house will turn around and say, if they get fined $3 billion, it will wipe out the kitty. They'll have to sell a lot of XRP and the price will come down. And then slowly over time, they won part one of the court case, which is it's not a security when it's traded on exchanges. That was win number one. Win number two is paying the fine, which was $120 million, something like that, $140 million, way less than the SEC wanted, which was $2 billion. Ripple wanted to pay about 5p. But the point of the matter is, the letters, and again, if you want to follow anybody on Twitter to get the inside scoop, it's Eleanor, okay? She's now left Fox, and she's now going to do her own podcast show, which is called Crypto in America. She's a clever cookie. She knows exactly what she's talking about. She has the trust of many people in the industry, because the majority of everything she publishes on X is fact. There's very little speculation. And if there is speculation, it's speculation from a trusted source that she trusts. So she believes this is going to come to an end. They will pay a fine. This was the ruling. The fine was a lot less. I believe the fine, I'm sure the fine was $100 or $200 million. The SEC wanted $2 billion, which was wholly unrealistic. Brad has won because Brad is sitting next to Donald Trump. And there is another thing about to come out, which is XRP is likely to be categorized as a commodity. I am not really on that page as far as XRP is concerned. Okay, let me just go up here for 1 second while we talk about this. Right, XRP is not a commodity. It is a pre-mined token that is owned wholly in its treasury by Ripple. And they are unlocking 100 million Ripple every month, something on those lines. I can't see how it's a commodity. I can't see how the lines have blurred in the wrong direction. We had Gary Gensler that called everything a security. We can't suddenly now go in the opposite direction and call everything a commodity. Bitcoin is mined. It's electronically mined. Same way gold is dug out of the ground and oil is pumped out of the ground. They are commodities. Sugar is manufactured. It's a commodity. Okay? As are whatever it was called. Was it called pigskins? Trading places. Anyway, beside the point. They are commodities. I don't get how we can classify XRP as a commodity. I can't wrap my head around it. It's a pre-mined token owned by a company that they own the supply of. And somebody wanted to redo the Howey test. Now, the Howey test, for those of you that don't know, it's a set of questions that you answer to determine whether something is a security or not. Now, that doesn't really apply to crypto, in all fairness. It's not the right test. I think the test is something like 80 years old, 100 years old. But there's no reason why we can't have a Howey crypto test. And one of the things that came out months and months ago, which I thought was a brilliant idea, was if the percentage of tokens held by other individuals is more than 60%, then you can classify it as not being a security. Okay, so if, for example, the Ethereum Foundation held 55% of Ethereum in its treasury, it would be a security. If it held 35% of Ethereum in its treasury, it wouldn't be a security. But by default, it doesn't necessarily make it a commodity. That's the issue that I have. We have securities and commodities. Securities are stocks, commodities are oil and gold. And I don't see how Ripple's XRP token can be classified as a commodity. I think we've gone too far in the opposite direction. It's like everybody can now have a commodity. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. I think that is possibly, again, where we're going to go wrong. We're going to go wrong. So XRP are going to win the case. Again, long term, I'm still bullish on XRP. You've got haters out there saying that XRP isn't, the banks don't want to use it. Financial institutions don't want to use it. But he happens to be sitting next to Donald Trump, and Donald Trump will make it happen for him because crypto paid a large chunk of Trump's presidential campaign. So crypto is going to win. Certain exchanges are going to win, certainly because they've paid their dues. Tron is going to win because it paid its dues, and so will XRP. XRP is going to come out of this smelling of roses, and they are in it to they are in it to try and force XRP into the kind of the crypto strategic reserve, the Bitcoin strategic reserve. That's what they're trying to do. Now then, the other thing, of course, to go along with this is that everything starts to snowball. So once the court cases start to fade away, that's when you're going to see the bullish news about XRP. And I've been saying this for years as well. XRP is sitting on licenses. It's sitting on partnerships and collaborations, whether it be the central bank digital currencies, whether it be partnerships with Dubai, whether it be partnerships with a bank, Santander or HSBC. They're sitting on them. There's no point in them releasing this great news until the court case is closed. Once the court cases are closed, you're going to see these headlines every week. XRP partners, XRP gets a license, XRP is going to do this. They're going to partner with Cardano. They're going to partner with Solana. They are going to be a big player, whether we like it or not. And again, it's not a commodity in my eyes. But Ripple getting these licenses and getting these approvals in places like Dubai, which is forever growing, it's going to be massively bullish for XRP. Now, again, we were at 250. We sat there for a while. We've had a big correction in the market. We're still at 225. We are 8x, higher than we were when we first started this journey, this bull run. We're not going to go to $35 to $50. I want to point that out. We are likely to see $5 to $7. We don't have a lot of time left in the bull run. We are approaching the end of March. We've got April through to November, 7 months. That's not a long time. So you have to think, where are we going to go? $5, $7 seems a reasonable price to me for XRP. If it goes any higher and I'm wrong, fine, I'm wrong. But do not, again, let people fill your heads with numbers of prices of tokens that we don't have the time to get there. Right then, this is more bullish news. Aave launches Horizon to boost real-world asset adoption in DeFi, and there is the beautiful logo. I'm sure somebody in the Aave office shouted, "Bring me the Horizon." That's number 3. Okay. Bridging TradFi and DeFi, Aave Labs launches Horizon to integrate tokenized real-world assets into the DeFi ecosystem, linking traditional finance with decentralized solutions, unlocking stablecoin liquidity. Horizon enables institutions to use tokenized money market funds as collateral to borrow stablecoins like USDC and GHO, reducing costs and enhancing 24/7 liquidity, driving institutional adoption. The initiative is set to foster institutional participation and could pave the way for up to 16 trillion in real-world assets moving on-chain, boosting innovation and DeFi. Now, this is the narrative. I think this is the narrative of 2025. Real-world assets. We've got different niches, or as the Americans call them, niches, where we have very, very bullish influences. We've got GameFi, we've got traditional gaming coming into Web3, we have real-world assets, we have DeepIn, we have AI, we all have these weird and wonderful acronyms for things. But real-world assets, they've hit the final stretch with precision. And what I mean by that is, even though we haven't got $16 trillion in the ecosystem, Ondo, Maple Finance, Pendle, Goldfinch, Horizon, some of the tokens that are appearing, some of the products, of these projects are now appearing across the board. The USDY, the OUSG tokens. These tokens are basically enabling you to earn a yield from traditional finance. And I think we've hit the sweet spot. I think real-world assets are the token of 2025. Now, the price action of everything does not reflect that. Okay? I get that. But there's going to be a coming together of some of the bigger projects like XRP we've just talked about, like Chainlink we've just talked about, like Solana, much as people dislike the chain. Those will be coming together with Cardano and Ondo, Maple, Horizon, Mantra. They're all going to come together, so you'll have multiple products across multiple chains for you to earn yield on. Now, I'll give you an example of this, which I've said before. Friday evening at 6 o'clock, Apple moves its treasury into USDY, which pays 5% APR. It sits there for Friday, Saturday, Sunday and Monday morning. So let's say 3 whole days out of a week it spends in that 5% APR. Now you multiply that by 52 and you've got 150 days potentially out of 365 days. So they're going to earn 2% potentially on their treasury by moving it in and out of USDY. As an example, you can use many other examples. You can go and find any yield-bearing asset, and Apple can move its funds around, or it can move 80% of its treasury into USDY and leave it there, and then just have a running balance, because these things take minutes to move, whereas traditional finance, it takes weeks to move. So it's not just about giving you the opportunity of earning 5 or 6%. It's about giving traditional blue chips an opportunity to earn a yield. Musk talked about this 2 years ago, about how having money in a European bank is costing him 1% per year. So for every 1 million euros he's got in Europe, he is paying 10,000 euros per year in fees. So over time, its money's just being eaten away. Whereas Had he got an option of using something like this, those banks wouldn't be charging him 1%. He'd be earning 3 or 4% a year. And that's a big swing when you're talking about these massive, massive numbers. So Aave are looking to step into this. And again, who are Aave being closely watched by? World Liberty Financials. Okay, Trump is looking at Aave as well as a way of earning yield for World Liberty Finance, and therefore World Liberty Finance customers. So you can see the coming together of many, many different projects and blockchains and traditional finance companies. You can see them all coming together before your very eyes. And at some point in the future, when all of these things are together, you are going to end up in a situation where you have the choice of 5 or 6 different places to put your excuse me, to put your money to earn a yield. Great for you. Frictionless DeFi is what we want. That is what we want. Now then, this is a little bit of a interesting one. Bank of Russia's elite crypto regime, trading restricted only to millionaires. So, Russia and many other countries like Russia, not necessarily, I'm not going to say that word again, by the way, are giving the elites, the rich of the rich, giving them access to Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. Okay, they're opening the door a crack. Okay, and they are doing it with the experimental framework proviso. What they're actually doing is giving their buddies open access to crypto assets, because look how it started. It was in the news today. India and Russia have been trading for oil in Bitcoin. That came out today. So the government can do it. So then their citizens are saying, well, why can't we do it? And now Russia has turned around and said, well, you can do it, but you can't do it because you're a farmer and you're poor, but you can do it because you've got 300 billion rubles in your bank account. So we'll let you do it, but we're not going to let the poor people do it. Okay, so the poor people can stay poor and the rich people will get richer. Now, there's many other reasons why they're not going to open it up to everybody else, because a lot of countries are scared that crypto is going to it's going to destabilize their currency. It's going to ruin the ruble, or it's going to ruin the euro. It's going to ruin the pound. No, it isn't. It's not going to do that. It's a fraction of the size of the Russian economy, the UK economy, the European economy. America is embracing it because America has stable coins which buy gilts, which prop up the American economy. That's why they're doing it. That's why Warren Buffett saying it's the best thing since sliced bread. Because if you end up with $5 trillion worth of stable coins, that $5 trillion worth of stable coins is backed by $5 trillion of American gilts, bonds, whatever they invest in. Okay. Russia doesn't have that. China doesn't have that. Okay. So if you see the Russian farmer go out and get $10,000 and sits in USDC, it's propping up the American economy. They don't want that. Of course they don't want that, because they are a competitor in the field. So you get to invest in crypto if you've got at least 100 million rubles, which is $1.15 million. Okay. And deposits or earn an annual income of at least $583,000. So you need $1.2 million or you need $583,000. Again, poor farmer doesn't get a look in. Rich man who sits on his backside all day smoking cigars and drinking vodka, he can do it. Okay. Make sense of that as you will. Which one benefits the economy more? We know. Okay. This is why I have a problem in America when they have a sophisticated investor questionnaire you have to fill out to see if you're allowed into the big boys club. And if you've got less than $300,000 or $400,000 in liquid assets, you're not allowed in. Okay. So the big boys, they don't want you in. Ask yourself the question, why? Why should you? Is your money not the same as theirs? The Bank of Russia still does not consider crypto as a means of payment, even though Russia is paying India in Bitcoin. And, sorry, no, India is paying Russia in Bitcoin. It proposes to also introduce a ban on settlements between residents on transactions with crypto outside the legal regime. So you can't use it to pay for your eggs that you buy from the farm or your meat that you buy from the farm, but the rich man and the government can. Again, I would be very wary about that. It's too early to talk about that for now because crypto can, of course, be a payment unit, but it's very unstable. It's not unstable if it is a stable coin. But what I would also say, and again, I don't know how many people know this, but what time is it, by the way? Have we run till... Oh, we've got plenty of time. So, let me ask you this question. How many of you know that USDC and USDT can freeze the funds in your bank account? Let's go on to full screen again for a second. I want to talk to you about this for a minute. You will have heard the expression, not your keys, not your crypto. You'll have heard that many, many times from people, okay? And it's true. Get yourself a Ledger or a Trezor wallet. Put 1 Bitcoin onto that wallet, stick it in a safety deposit box or stick it somewhere safe. No one will ever be able to take that Bitcoin off you, okay? It's inherently flawed, by the way, because they keep updating the software. And if you hold it for 20 years and don't update the software, the chances are you're going to be stuck. That's why you need to keep your seed phrase. Now, that's Bitcoin. That's Bitcoin. That's not everything. If you have $100,000 in USDT or USDC and you have them in your wallet, they can make it worthless. It's happened time and time again. Not every cryptocurrency is created equally. Not every NFT is created equally. And we're going to talk about Star Atlas in a minute. There is a flag within their NFTs that allows them to freeze those NFTs so they become unusable in case of theft and fraud. Tether and Circle have the same thing in their token. They can freeze the assets in your account. Simply put, I don't know how many other cryptocurrencies you can do that with, okay? But you can definitely do it with stable coins. Now, what does that mean? If Russia and India trade using USDC or USDT, what is to stop a future American government from freezing that stablecoin? Nothing. It's totally capable of doing it. So that is why you hear Russia, India trading, China and India trading using Bitcoin, because it's uncensorable. Uncensorable means that nobody can stop it. That's what it means. Everything else can be stopped. If you dragged Vitalik Buterin into a room and you sat him down and you said, you need to do something on Ethereum that allows us to block transactions, he would do it. The same with Anatoly Solana. Charles is a different kettle of fish because Cardano is now truly decentralized, and I'm not sure they'd be able to do it quickly, but they'd still be able to do it through the DAO, but then you would depend on everybody voting for it, and that's very unlikely to happen. So you've got to be careful when you hear people say, oh, well, you know, I've got $250,000 in USDT sitting on my Trezor because nobody can get it off me. Well, they can. Okay, so be very careful when you hear people talk about not your keys, not your crypto. It should be Bitcoin specific. That's what it should be. It shouldn't be anything else. Now I need to change my screen back so we can talk about this. Now this is a little bit, it's not really self-indulgent, but Stephanie, good morning and welcome back. The sound is low. Let me have a little look at my sound settings. Give me 1 minute. If I do that, is that any better? I've just turned the sound up. I get that complaint for a few people that listen on headsets, and I don't know why. But there we go. Turn the volume up on this. Now, it's not really self-indulgence because you know me. I cannot stand gaming tokens. I think they're trash. I don't like Decentraland. I don't like the other one, Sandbox. I think they've had years and years and years to build. seen nothing of it. Roblox is the one that seems to be making a headway. Then we're looking at the likes of Epic Games. Then we're looking at the likes of Steam. Then we're looking at the likes of these types of platforms to issue Web3 games. Gala is doing a great job, but the token and the project should be treated separately. Every single token offered by a gaming company is trash, and I am yet to find one that isn't. Now, look at Fortnite. You get the books, the V-Bucks, okay? You need to get the V-Bucks to go and buy a season pass. And that season pass unlocks loads of other things, and whatever it might be. So if V-Bucks was a cryptocurrency, I would say V-Bucks is the best gaming cryptocurrency in the world, but it isn't. But I'm just giving you an example, okay? If you take Gala, its token doesn't hold value. If you take WAGMI, its token doesn't hold value. None of them hold value. Big Game, which I think is a great game, has the potential for that token to hold value. The Atlas token has potential in the future to hold value, but I am not saying it is going to work. Anyone in the world can have a US checking account that auto converts currency into USDC. Absolutely they can. Absolutely they can. And that's what you want. But you've got to be careful about keeping your money in stable coins. If you're in Canada, for example, Canada did what during COVID? They retrospectively made it illegal for you to support the truckers. So they made it illegal after the event, and then they went back and closed people's bank accounts down. Now, take that one step further, and let's say we have stablecoin legislation in Canada and America where they can freeze your stablecoins. We're in the same situation 5-6 years later than we are when Canada were freezing the bank accounts of truckers. Bitcoin and maybe Monero, they're your only options as far as I can see on a on a ledger. Now, Star Atlas is going to launch this year. What is Star Atlas? It is a massive, great, big MMO in space. Are any of you old enough to remember Elite? Do any of you remember Elite? Does anybody remember this game? Because I am old enough to remember this game. You can't tell from this young face, but this game came out in 1984, okay? And it was the first 3D vector game. It was a space trading game. You had to dock your ship, which was a pain in the backside. You flew around, you collected things, you took them from A to B, and it's probably still the greatest game ever made, in my opinion, okay? Written by Brabin and Bell, who unfortunately never talk to each other anymore, which is really sad. But I was 10, almost 10 when this came out. And this is 40 years old. And 40 years later, we've not only got the internet, but we now have the blockchain, and we now have Star Atlas. And Star Atlas, to me, is elite. It's an elite game. You trade, you have dead zones, you have pirates, you have everything you had in Elite, and it's 40 years later. And they've announced that they're going to launch by the end of the year. There was a massive problem with Tariq. Tariq. I always hated that game. I like Doom. Well, Doom was good. Yes, Doom was good, but it wasn't. It was all right. It wasn't my cup of tea. I played it to death, of course, but it wasn't my cup of tea. Moonpay, or is it Moonwell? Yeah, exactly. Again, ping me on Telegram and we'll do a review of Moonwell. ATMTA, which is the name of the company, they basically had a lot of their tokens in FTX. FTX crashed and it wiped out $2.5 or $5 million of their cash. And that was their runway to build the project. They had to go through an entire series of redundancies. They changed the roadmap for the project. Instead of being a 7-year project, they were going to do it in stages. And Michael Wagner, he deserves every credit for this because it was very close to folding, okay? They had an 11-month, 12-month, 13-month runway. That was it. They were really struggling. and he's pulled it out the bag, okay? And when people say to me, oh, Solana is full of degens, it's full of pump and dumps, it's full of pump.fun projects. I was there on Solana 5 years ago. I was there during the NFTs, during the gaming, during the good times. And I was there during the bad times when it was $10, $12, $15, okay? And these people, the Wagners of this world, and not just them, there's other projects on Solana. You know, there's Camino Finance, there's Jupiter, there's people like that, there's Bird Eye. They just kept going. They kept going, and they had belief in what they were doing. So to tar Solana with this brush is very unfair on a lot of the projects that I have been watching for all this time, okay? Star Atlas is going to launch this year. Getting the core mechanics of an MMO online and released by the end of the year. That's our goal right now. The Star Atlas game project has been in the works since 2020. A 2D browser game is available. If they can pull off the launching of an NAA-style title, it would make a much needed step forward. Remember, this game isn't just pie in the sky. It's listed at this moment in time on Epic Game Stores. You can go and get it. You can go and play. You can go and hang around in the hangar, or you can go into your web browser. You can go to Sage Labs. You can play it through the 2D version, and it's getting there. And when they combine the first-person element of the game with the 2D version of the game, you're going to have something which has never been seen before. It's going to be absolutely massive. Now, the two things that this isn't going to mention in here, and the two things I'm going to tell you about now, about Star Atlas. And again, by the way, I'm not sponsored by Star Atlas to talk about this. I'm just a big fan of it. There aren't any games that have come as far as they've come. And there's two things on the horizon which are going to change their company forever, in my opinion. And number one is the advent of AI. They are going to be able to integrate AI into this project, and you are going to go and land on a distant world which no gamer in Star Atlas has landed on, and you're going to interact in real time with your voice to characters on that island, and they are going to give you stories. They're going to give you quest lines generated in the game. That's number one. Number two, and the one thing I've been pestering them for, is to allow third-party NFT projects into the game. So then Star Atlas isn't just a game, it brings all of the other NFT projects together. If an NFT project is out there right now, what is it? It's a series of pixels that are worth either $1 or $100,000. They have a bit of utility, of course, if they've got a website or if they've got staking or whatever else it might be, great. But what about allowing some of these NFT projects to go into the Star Atlas universe? It would be great. It would be a game changer. And it would make Star Atlas more like a Sandbox or a Decentraland and less like a standalone game. And you'd bring those communities with you. Imagine if there was a barrier to entry, which was $30 or $40 to get a ship and fly around. What if holding that NFT gives you that ship to fly around in? So you don't have to pay to play the game. You just go straight in and play. So I'm very bullish on the game. Of course, I have some ships. I've got $300 or $400 worth of ships. I'm not massively invested into the project, but I have to give credit where credit is due. And Star Atlas, for me, Earth from Another Sun is a great first-person shooter. But if we're talking about a AAA game changer, I've seen nothing out there outside of Star Atlas that can bring people from traditional gaming into crypto gaming. And by the way, when we do that, we don't need people to know that they're playing a blockchain game. We just want them to play. So for me, I'm massively bullish on Star Atlas. Right then, that's got to the end of the show. Thankfully, let me close this down so I stop framing. Thank you, everybody. This is the end of the Friday show. The Oracle is back tonight. Now, because, actually, I can bring this up. Because we are streaming on Binance, we can be a little bit freer with telling you about our education shows. So if you give me 1 second, I'm going to show you where you can go and subscribe to the channel. And, of course, you will be able to see the Oracle tonight. There we go. So let me move that up a bit. And let's go back to full screen for 1 second. There we go. So if you go over to YouTube, you will find us, Crypto Warehouse, on YouTube. We have a second show in 5 hours. About 5 hours from now, the Oracle will be streaming. Forget the title of the show, Bitcoin and Crypto are finished. That's just a headline grabbing title. We don't really mean that. But the Oracle is back at 5 o'clock. He streams for an hour. He looks at Bitcoin, Ethereum, looks at Solana. He takes calls from the audience. So make sure to go and follow us over there. That's number one. And that's important to help us out because at the minute, believe you me, we are absolutely crucified by the fact that people just aren't watching videos on crypto. People aren't watching live streams, and it is brutal out here. And it's hard. Not hard to keep going. We're not motivated simply by numbers, but what we are motivated by is, of course, trying to get our voice out there. And YouTube in particular, when there is a lot less people looking at crypto, they focus the views on their bigger channels, like Crypto Banter, for example. They just keep growing and they are getting all of the audience and we are not. So tell your friends about us, bookmark us, subscribe to us, go and follow us on YouTube. And if you're on Binance, make sure you follow us on Binance. We are, for the near future, what do I think about real world assets? Real world assets for me are the number one niche in 2025. We, by the way, as you can see from this screen here, we are an ambassador of Maple Finance. We make videos on Maple Finance. In fact, if you scroll down, you will see that we cover many, many projects in real world assets. So they are the top 3 real world asset coins. We've covered Swarm Finance, we've covered Maple, we've covered Agridex, Relio, Ondo. We do all possible. Am I on right screen? Yeah. We cover all the possible real world asset projects that we can. There's loads out there. There's Goldfinch, there's Pendle as well. And we've talked about Horizon today. I think real world assets is where the real money is now. Forget about meme coins to some extent for this year. I've made a video today, in fact, about what meme coins you should be buying for the end of the bull run. And of course, don't just go and put all of your money into meme coins, 2 or 3% into a meme coin or meme coins. That's it. Anyway, got to get going. It is nearly 12:10. I'm going to go and make another video now, I think. Thank you for watching to the end of the House of Pain. Hopefully, we're going to have a bullish weekend. Hopefully, we can get back towards $90,000 sooner rather than later. And hopefully, we don't have another step down to $70,000. So take care, everybody. Thank you to the newcomers. Make sure you subscribe. Take care. Velo Labs, very good. Take care. And I will see you all very soon. Ciao.